What's up, guys? So last week got a lot of things done on the bike, but there's still a lot of things to do. So today I'm gonna go ahead and tackle a couple of other things. Now, before I go ahead and start, I gotta say, I took my fairings down to my friend Brian 10 to get painted. Hello!
How you doing?
Good to see you.
Good.
Thank you for doing this for me, man.
You're welcome.
So he's going ahead and knocking that out for me. Thank you, Brian. And since I was down there, I went ahead and went to go visit my friend Charlie Bruin. What's up, man?
How's it going?
It's good. Who sold me his lightly used suit. Old suit, new suit, newish suit. And he also picked up a wheel for me. And just now, what came from my friend Kelly's place. Hello.
Hey, dude.
What's going on?
Oh, you know, making dinner.
Being domestic. He went ahead and sold me a couple of very essential tools when dealing with forks. The couple of things I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be switching out that wiring harness. I'm not going to show you too much. I'm not going to take you step by step through that one because it's pretty straightforward. You know, you're just disconnecting and then reconnecting one by one until you get everything done. But the main thing, the main focus of the video and what the title says is I'm going to show you how to install the Fast Frank Quick Change fender kit. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle the wiring harness first. So enjoy this montage-y little thing. I found this, focus, I found this sitting like right on my butterfly, like right here. Maybe it's really lucky that I wasn't able to start my bike after I crashed, because if I did, if that piece was actually just sitting there the entire time, it would have gone down into the engine. And wow, you know, like things like that don't combust and don't do well inside of an engine. So I think I would have trashed my engine if that thing, if I started my bike. Oh boy. Okay, so I thought it was gonna be a pretty simple swap, but it's not. I just realized this part that comes out the front, this is not included as part of the main wire harness. So all these wires in here are supposed to be inside of like a connector of some sort. And that connector, I think it's still in my old gauge cluster, which I don't have anymore. It's gone. This monster is the wiring harness. Well, minus the power commander. That was a lot more complicated than I expected. I'm gonna stop with the wiring harness now. It's like frustrated me like mad, and I think I'm gonna move on to installing the quick change kit. All right, so this needs to go like right here on the fork. And that basically allows me to pull apart the brakes without stretching or without flexing the fender. The first things we wanna do before we start is we want to measure all of our settings. So we want to measure the height of the fork in the tree. We also want to make sure that our settings are logged, like where the preload, the rebound, and while you're at it, just might as well get the high and low speed compression settings written down as well. That way you know where they are and you can go back to them. Now, installing this quick change kit is usually best when you are doing your fork oil, when you're doing fork service, you know, because you're gonna be taking the forks apart, you might as well change the oil while you're at it and stuff. But since my forks are pretty much freshly refreshed, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna try to save the oil and put it back in. So here are the recommended tools to get this done. Okay, what we have here, we have fork spring compressor tool. You can use something like this. This is what they have in the manual as well. It's a little harder to do because you need to hook ratcheting straps on here to compress the spring. You could do it by yourself, but it's a little harder. This right here makes it so much easier. You have your dampening rod tool, dampening rod holder tool. Again, not absolutely necessary, but it makes it so much easier to grab onto the dampening rod and hold it up while you're reinstalling. A fork seal driver tool. This is gonna be a must to install these because the compression ring on the quick change kit is super tight. Recommended is a driver, impact driver of some sort with the socket that goes on the end of this, because this will raise and lower or compress or decompress the spring. And in my case, a measuring cup, because I'm gonna measure how much oil comes out so I can put the exact amount back in. Oh, and I almost forgot, you need a heat gun of some sort to heat the compression ring so that it's a little easier to work with. Okay, now while the forks are still on the bike, you want to go ahead and break the caps loose. You need a, I think this is a 41 millimeter. Just put it over the fork cap and just break it loose. All right, now that it's all ready to go, let's go ahead and take the fork out. It would help to to take out all the preload and the rebound out of this. Okay, now the workbench, what I like to do is to clamp this in my vise, and I have nylon jaws on here so it's not going to scratch or damage the fork, the lower fork part. So first step is to identify in this kit which one's left and right. It's not labeled, so you kind of just have to figure it out. The way you figure it out is you want it to sit like, if it's on the right side, you want this angle to go, this little metal piece to kind of face outwards, because this is going to attach to my fender. So this is going to go right up here, like so. Now, here is the part that I don't like that much. You're going to need a file, a round file. And what you're doing is you're going to take off a little bit of material here so that this could sit flush against this piece. Easy enough, huh? Here we go. That's pretty much done. It is pretty close to flush. Really close. Now the next step is installing this compression ring on that, and that will hold this in place. What we need to do that is your fork seal driver tool and a hot air gun. We're gonna heat this up. He says in instructions at 200 degrees, and then we could slide this on there pretty much most of the way down, and then use the seal driver to hammer it all the way down. I did it! Look at that. The ring is on there. So, hello. So, it was still difficult, but not as bad as I thought. I heated the ring for like 10 minutes straight on the high setting with my hot air gun, and it was only able to get like to like right here. But instead of kind of giving up this time, I just took the seal driver and just started pounding away. And then after it got to a certain point, it started going down easier, all the way down. Now, I think it's a little tight, but this will work. So, at this point, man, it's just getting the forks back together. So let's go ahead and do that. Just a little bit of cleanup at this point, and then putting it back on the bike. All right, another thing to kind of really consider when you're putting everything back together is to make sure that this axle bolt, when it goes through, like the axle is aligned. Your forks through the top might be a little different, should be pretty close, but as long as your forks are aligned, that makes it easier to get the pinch bolt or get the axle like in and out real quick. And if it just slides in and out without any resistance, that's where it needs to be. If you want to get a quick change kit, I highly recommend it if you do races or track days where you're changing your front tire, especially multiple times. With the front wheel, you have to take out the brake calipers, you have to undo the pinch bolts, the axle bolt, everything. It's just a bunch of things that you have to do to take out the front wheel. Like there's 12 bolts on the R6 that you take off in order to take out the front wheel. And with the quick change kit, all I gotta do is just take the axle out, and that's it. I'm sure there's other quick change kits around, but Fast Frank is the only one I know about, and it worked pretty well. So yeah, if you found that helpful, useful, please leave me a thumbs up. Subscribe for more videos like this. And I still have a lot to do on the bike, so stay tuned for that. And I will see you in the next one. Oh crap, I totally forgot to put the oil back in.